Welcome back, Sasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy, and today I have an interesting one for y'all. This is the Tempest Knives Mach 51 prototype. Mach 51, I guess, is after the Mach 51 Mustang, because this knife is the brainchild of Mr. Casey from Knives Fast here on YouTube and on Instagram. If you're not already following him, definitely go check him out, especially if you want to get the updates for this knife. This will become a Kickstarter campaign, and once he announces that, I will leave links to all that down below. I will also leave links to Mr. Casey's channel and Instagram down below as well. Let's get some specs out of the way before we go any further, so you can have an idea of the size of this knife. You have a total length of 8 inches, so it's in that medium to large, I'd say large size. You have a blade length of 3.5 inches, so nice cutting edge there. You have a grip area without that forward choil right here, from here to here, of 3.5 inches. And if you go forward all the way, you have a 4.5 inch grip area. So it's going to fit those large, extra large hands very nicely. You have a nice slender scale thickness of 0.47. Feels good in the hand. And a closed width in the pocket from here to here is 1.32 inches. So it's not going to take up a whole lot of real estate in the pocket. The blade stock thickness is coming in at 0.127, and the behind the edge thickness on this particular prototype is ranging from 20 thousandths from about here to here, and then it starts gradually tapering thicker to that tip to around 24 to 25 thousandths all the way at the tip. So not bad, because if you like to, you know, bore a hole or something in wood or something like that, you're not going to have to worry about snapping off that tip. You do have some meat behind there, so that is a nice thing. The OEM for this knife is QSP, and they do some really good work. If you haven't checked out one of their knives, don't hesitate. They usually come in at a good price point. And I know he's trying to keep these at a certain price point, and we will have to wait and see when that Kickstarter campaign comes out. But before we go any further, let's do a little cutting with the Mach 51 and see how well it performs. All right, this will be the factory edge. I'm going to show the thing so I can make sure no scratches are happening or anything. That's been like that since it came. And we're gonna just do some light cutting, because this is a prototype. I don't want to do anything crazy with it. Do a little bit of cardboard cutting. Let's see. It's got a really sharp edge. All right, I must say, if this is the factory edge, they definitely did a great job. I don't know if y'all could see, but I was literally holding this steady and pulling the cardboard through. So it was basically, what I'm trying to say is, it was push cutting it like butter, and very comfortable, especially in that choke up position. Yeah, I didn't think that would do anything to it. All right, I'd like to try to test the ergos on this Pine 2x4. We're going to start out with some light pressure and then kind of pick it up a little bit just to see how it feels. I'm going to try to change grips as well midway. All right, I put a good bit of pressure in the last few cuts, and of course, you know, if you're doing something like this with a knife like this, that if it has that choke up position, that's the most comfortable. I can get the most control and the most pressure, and it was very comfortable like that. Probably one of the most comfortable knives I've tested in a while. Even whenever I choked back on just the back side of the handle, it was still comfortable. It felt awkward just because, you know, it tapers down right here. So, you know, it just felt funny because I'm putting a lot of pressure, pulling back like that. You could do it, but this is the money shot right here. Excellent job there. All right, we're gonna cut up a bunch of different stuff, nothing crazy. Start off with a baby carrot. Carrots aren't easy to slice, especially if it's thick, but boy, did good there. It's not splitting it. All right, I think that's enough carrot cutting. It sliced outstanding. Do some cheese. Alrighty, somebody just asked me to cut up some food, so I figured perfect knife to do it because it's super sharp. Off to the next. Alright, we're gonna cut up several different types of materials. We're just not gonna cut as much, being like I said, this is a prototype. Just want to get a sense of how well it's slicing. Seat belt material first. Nice. All right. I have to say that not only is this been the most comfortable in hand to test as far back as I can remember, very comfortable, and it performs outstanding. Like these dense materials like this, usually like it'll catch on the sidewalls or it's real tough. It went through them like it wasn't even there. Same with this. The leather, the tip is a little bit thicker, but that's not a bad thing. It still got through it though. Look at that. Like I never cut anything. Wow. I've tested 5 other knives today, and another knife, also an M390. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, this knife put that one to shame. I'm not gonna name companies. I can do that. But unbelievable. All right, I'm just gonna cut up a few pieces of this 1/2-inch twisted sisal rope just to see how it's passing through it. All right, that's enough. I was basically testing something, and I'll talk about that at the end. Let's check that front area. Yeah, it's still pretty sharp. Alrighty, I hope y'all enjoyed that footage. I enjoyed making it for y'all. Like I said, I had to keep it kind of light because this is a prototype, not my knife, so I'm going to treat it with the most care, especially being this is going to another YouTuber after me. So let's take a closer look at this. You have a nice and interesting looking spear point blade. That tip goes right down the center, as you can see there, and a nice top swedge that gives it that little added touch. I like that. It doesn't give it that plain look as far as in that blade, and also it doesn't go all the way down to the tip, so you still have a nice robust tip for doing any kind of, like, you know, twisting with the blade. You're not going to want to do much prying with it, but that's not what a knife's for anyway. Has a satin finish. As you can see, it's a vertical satin on the primary, and on the flats, it's a horizontal satin. See if I can show that on the flats. Kind of hard to show. And the little windows right there have been blasted. Looks like a bead blast in there. And the blade steel on this knife is Bowler M390 Super Steel. And I must say, I was testing 4 other knives along with this one whenever I was doing the testing for this one, or I'd just say the cutting with this one. And I had another knife that was an M390 as well, and they did about the same amount of cutting, and a bunch of other different knives, one in S35VN, 2 in D2, and this knife outperformed them by a long shot. This one has absolutely, you don't feel any, man, there's like one little bumpiness right there, but I wasn't the first person to get this knife either. So very, very impressed. It's sliced similar to, I would have to say, kind of like a Paramilitary 2, which is a good slicer. You know, it's not groundbreaking, but it's good. At 20 thousandths, it's decent. It's going to be a good user. You also, along the top right here, I don't know if you can see that, but you have a bevel on the top of the spine, so it's not going to be sharp anywhere where you don't want it to be. Besides that cutting edge, there you go. You can see it kind of there. Hopefully it's coming across on the camera. And your edge termination comes all the way to the back of that plunge grind at the forward of that forward finger tool right there. I do like the way he did this to where you're not losing a bunch of extra blade by incorporating it into the handle, and the handle is long enough that you can do that. Kind of like on the Spyderco Dragonfly, it gives you that extra choil without taking off most of the blade. Nicely done there. And this, the way this hood, I guess you call it, like this car window, right there, that ramp, especially in that choke up position, I get my thumb on the outside when I'm doing pull cuts, comfortable, and you can guide it, you know, for guidance. I mean, for more accuracy in your cutting, and like I said, a lot of pressure behind the cuts. Nice and comfortable. No need for jimping right there. You have a nice flat spine up there, so I didn't have any problems where I felt like I was going to slip off in any of the cutting I was doing. All right, the deployment action on this knife, it's riding on ceramic bearings and a ceramic detent. You can spidey flick it by the back of that window. It's got enough meat behind there, and it's not like slick or anything. You can catch your fingernail easily on the back of that. You can easily slow roll it, and that's the only thing I have trouble with is thumb flicking it. If I get it right up there in the top, sometimes I can get it, and the only thing you could really do there is either make this cut out a little deeper, or just completely cut that out to where you have a blade hole to where you can get your finger in it all the way. I think also that one reason for, and I can show you this here, on the closing, you got to give it a good little shake. Not terrible or anything to get it down, just 2 shakes. But I have a feeling this knife would be super, super smooth and very easy to thumb flick it like that, even with the hole the way it is, if they extended this lock bar cutout. This lock bar cutout from this edge to the tip right here is like 1.6 inches. And I just because I'm not a knife maker and I have no idea, I measured this knife, and this knife, and a whole bunch of other knives in this same size range, and they were all from here to here at 2 inches before it started. So the less material you have here, the more pressure, because it's going to be stronger, the more pressure is going to push on that blade. And also the size of the lock bar relief is also going to dictate how much lock bar pressure you have on there whenever they go to bend it over. So that definitely would help the drop shut action part. Now, like I said, it's got a pretty smooth action on the open and close. I just think it could be smoother if those adjustments were made. Now, I don't know. These are things he could be already addressing. I'm not sure. I try not to watch anybody else's videos and anything so I can form my own opinions there. So forgive me if those things are already talked about. You have full titanium scales, titanium frame lock on the left side. Your titanium has been completely contoured, and when I say excellent job there, outstanding. This is probably one of the most ergonomic knives that I've tested in a long time, and I'm not trying to toot Casey's horn or anything like that, but it's the truth. Very comfortable, and it's definitely due to the way it's contoured and the way this drops down back there just to follow the natural contours of your hand. They also, as you can see, have a nice orange peel texture done to the titanium. And basically what orange peel is, or the way I do orange peel, there's two ways I do orange peel. You can, on a buffing machine, you can put a brass wire wheel, and basically the wire is spinning like this, round and around, and you rub it up against there, put a little bit of pressure, and whenever the friction of those wires rubbing against this cause the titanium to heat up, basically leaving little dimples all over the titanium, and that's what you're seeing there. And then after they were done, they it looks like they bead blasted it, or maybe blasted with aluminum oxide. They got a nice little chamfer going on around the entire frame as well, so they broke up any hard edges. That also aids in the nice comfortable grip you get in here. Now, I will say it does give you a tad bit of texture rather than just be a slick finish, but it is somewhat slippery. I had no issues, I will say that. And the only thing you can really do there is if you maybe gave it a heavier blast with like a darker, heavier grit aluminum oxide, and it would give it more of a tactile feeling, kind of like a Sabenza. But, you know, like I said, I had no issues, so it's really not a big deal. I do know, I heard Casey say on one of his lives, or his recent live, that he left it just plain orange peel like this, so it could be a blank canvas for all the knife modders out there that do an excellent job, like Knife Modders, the actual people on Instagram. Lindy Lou and her boyfriend do amazing work. Richie, awesome people there. And tons of other awesome people, like, well, I'm not going to start naming people because I'm going to forget somebody. All right, and you have a nice decorative pivot that has it looks like basically like a car rim, and I'm guessing maybe a Mustang rim. And you can even see, I don't know if it's focusing, but you can see the little 5 lug holes. This is a 5 lug pattern rim there. Very nicely done. Almost contoured. It sits a little bit proud. I don't think it's mainly because of that contour there. And another awesome thing about this knife is TA construction throughout the entire knife. Awesome. Love seeing that. Nice and crisp T8 hardware as well. As you can see, it's nice and deep, and there's not a lot of wiggle. I tested it out. Not much wiggle at all. This is a Weehaw bit, Weehaw driver. Another awesome thing that he included is a tip-up deep carry pocket wire pocket clip. Boom. Kind of like the Spyderco wire pocket clip. It functions excellent. Let's see it in and out of the pocket. This is my simulated pocket here. Goes in nicely. And I will say, the way it curves like this, it hugs the pocket, so it stays out of the way, and there's nothing that's going to poke you, no flipper tab or anything like that. And it comes in and out pretty nicely. No issues with being overly tight or anything. One thing that I will note, though, and I had no issue because I usually don't have anything thicker than what I just put these in. You can see how it ramps across and kind of like goes down. And it's kind of like what Spyderco does as well, except theirs doesn't ramp down as much. And there you go, you can see that. So it'd been nice just to see this at least flattened out, or with a little bit of upward pitch on it. You know, you don't want to go any higher than that because then you're going to start seeing problems with ergonomics. But the only issue with this is whenever you have, say, if you're wearing sweatpants or something thicker than those jeans I just had, it's going to just hit that at the seam, and you're going to have to lift that clip up to get it in there. You know, it's not something, I don't know if there's something that they can change. This is what I'm talking about, like, say, this ramp right here, how it just goes up. That's usually the best type of clips. Now, like I said, it functions excellent with the pants I wear. Just something to note. I did notice centering is a little bit to the right side. Not terrible, not rubbing or anything. I really think that has to do with that lock bar pressure pushing, being it's a shorter lock bar. So, and the reason I say that is because if you take the lock bar pressure off, it's a free dropper, and that's usually, you know, what's causing your closing smoothness, because this is a ceramic detent ball and it's gliding over that steel very nicely. You don't even feel it whenever you open and close it. So there you go. Your blade to handle ratio is fairly good. You could maybe go maybe 1/8 of an inch longer, but then I don't know. The spacer comes up good here, so you're not having to worry about it cutting you in the open or closed position. Let's see. Inside, you can see you have some nice milled out pockets in the titanium, and on the titanium backspacer you have a Tempest prototype. So Tempest Knives prototype here. Your pivot is also the same, that same decorative pivot as the show side. I like that. A lot of times you have decorative pivot on this side, and then you just have a regular plain Torx. Your Torx is on this side, so I'm guessing this is a captured pivot. Like I said, I didn't take it apart, so I don't know. The lockup on the knife is around 30% or so, give or take. And when I say bank vault, I mean I can't muscle any side to side, no up and down play whatsoever. So excellent job to QSP there. You have a steel lock bar insert. Let's see, it's kind of hard to show that. Bring out this. You do have a steel lock bar insert in there, and also you can see that tab right there. You have a over travel tab built into the lock bar, so when you go to push this lock bar over, you don't overextend it in that direction, because if you didn't know, if you have a frame lock and you overextend it in that direction whenever you're unlocking it, it'll pretty much make your knife useless, because the lock will spring out, and it has spring memory, and it'll sit out like that, so it won't contact all the way when it comes back this way. So just be careful if you don't have a lock bar over travel there when you disengage the lock. But nothing to worry about here. No lock stick whatsoever, so the tang of the blade is done nicely, so you don't have any rough patches there. Let's see, make sure left-handed, you can actuate the knife nicely. Yep. And I can almost body flick it left-handed, even though I am not left-handed. One thing that I did notice on this satin finish is that it looks pretty nice on this side. No real inconsistencies to see. But on this side, if you look, it's nice all the way. And look, see, is it coming across right there at the tip? How you have that spot that either got over buffed or something. I'm not too sure, but just an inconsistency. And it's an absolute fingerprint magnet. I would have loved to see this completely stone washed. It hides wear so much better, and you don't have to worry about those type of problems. But you know, it's not my design, so however he wants it to look, that's how it should look. Let's see. Like I said, the thin nature of this, it really carried really nicely. Let's get some size comparisons out of the way. Let's see. Start off with the Spyderco PM2. So it's going to be pretty darn close to the size of the PM2. Here's the Para 3. So as you can see, it's much closer to the Para 2 than the Para 3. And very similar, as you can see, very similar grip area. Very similar, especially being that the Spyderco flares out right there. All right, next two, we have the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Rat Model 2. So it's going to be, I'd say, right in the middle of both of those two knives. Alrighty. You know, this knife kind of reminded me of the Quiet Carry Chase a little bit. You know, this just the way that that swedge done up top, and you had that same belly. So it just reminded me of the cut, how the cutting felt with the Chase. It doesn't have that hump right there, but definitely had that feeling when it was slicing. All right, let's get a quick weight on this knife. It feels good in the hand. 99.4 grams and 3.5 ounces. So right at that ounce and inch that some people crave so bad. So very, very nicely done there. It's nice. A lot of times you'll see those milled out pockets done, and I mean, those milled out pockets look past after because they contoured the titanium. So I'm glad they decided to still put the lightning pockets in there, so it kept the weight and balance nice. Hopefully that was informative enough for y'all. If you're interested in the knife, like I said, keep an eye on Knives Fast YouTube channel and Instagram, and I will leave the Kickstarter campaign link down below once I have that information. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.